Welcome to the third in our series of videos based on 3 workshops developed for staff at FST at the University of Westminster. These 3 one-hour workshops are designed to help staff with planning for the use of technologies by staff and by students. Secondly, assist with presenting and encourage collaborating. And thirdly, assist with assessment of student understanding. Remember, you can pause the video at any time to reflect on your own practice. You will also find it useful to pause the video as there are QR codes as part of this workshop video that you can scan, and they will take you to useful websites. The aim of this third workshop is to identify ways in which mobile technologies can be used to assess student understanding in and out of lectures, in tutorials and seminars. We will explore apps and services including Nearpod, Google Forms, Kahoot, Poll Everywhere and Zeetings. We'll already have explored some of these in other workshops, however the focus in this session will be firmly on using them for summative and formative purposes. So here's the essential question for this particular workshop. How can technology enhance assessment processes? How can it be of benefit to staff, and how can it be of benefit to students? Feedback from the workshops has been divided into 2. On the left, the benefits to staff, and on the right, the benefit to students. In the first workshop, we explored the idea that planning could be a cyclical instead of a linear process. We also explored Bloom's taxonomy and saw how placing emphasis on different actions can change the nature of learning. It can also help us to move the focus in assessment away from lower order thinking skills to higher order thinking skills. There are lots of references online to Bloom's taxonomy. Here is just one particular website that you may find useful if you want to explore this further. An understanding of summative and formative assessment is assumed in this workshop. But, in brief, this is Janus. He's the Roman god of gates and doorways and time, including beginnings and endings, and he's typically portrayed as having 2 faces since he looks to the future and the past. This is a simple way of illustrating summative and formative assessment. Summative assessment is often portrayed as having a focus on evaluation at the end of a unit, where we focus on errors, and it's usually against a standardized marking scheme. Formative assessment tends to be focused on a more ongoing approach. Here we have a collection of ways in which students are usually assessed, and we could organize these into 2 groups. These are not necessarily set in stone, but a major consideration with all assessment is they're most useful when they inform next steps in future practice for the benefit of students and staff. Here is a brief example from computer science, using Padlet as a summative assessment. Students submitted their final work online, and the lecturer has taken it one step further and has put his summative assessments of the students online as well. Students can not only see each other's final assessments, they can read the lecturer's assessments of their work as well. So we have a summative assessment which could inform future practice. We're going to compare 5 different resources and services that could be used with assessment in mind. We'll compare the features and the benefits of each one in turn. There will then follow a series of other videos which look at each resource in its own right. Our first resource is Nearpod. This is a website and it's also an app, and it allows us to create interactive presentations. We can push tasks and questions out to the students, they respond, and we can share the feedback instantly with the audience. This can be done live or self-paced by the students. Notice the one thing that it doesn't allow us to do is have an online chat board at the same time. Your my.westminster email address is a Google account. This gives you access to storage to applications such as Google Docs and Google Forms. Google Forms is a very popular online tool that allows you to make polls and surveys using a range of different content. Feedback can then be shared with participants and the responses can be analysed. This is all done at the participant's own pace. Google Forms can be embedded into Blackboard and into web pages, and they can be extended using a wide range of plugins including Flubberoo, which allows Google surveys to be assessed and graded. Our third resource is a web service called Kahoot. It's a free resource and focuses on gamification of learning using fast, fun assessments in the form of quizzes. There are currently over 10 million free public quizzes already online, although you can make your own. The lecturer starts the quiz, students sign in on any device with a dedicated pin given to them by the lecturer, and they answer the questions in time using 4 coloured blocks on their screen. It is fun and it is fast. Our fourth resource is another online web service called polleverywhere.com. It allows you to create interactive surveys using a range of polling tools. The link to the poll can then be shared via a web link, or it can be converted to a QR code. And there is also a plugin for PowerPoint so that this poll can be run live inside your presentation. Our final resource is called Zeetings. Zeetings is an online application that allows you to broadcast presentations and add in interactive questions for assessment, and the results can be shared instantly with the audience. A unique feature is the chat function. The questions could be used for assessment purposes in a summative manner, and the chat function could be used for formative purposes. Instead of the audience posting statements, we could actually get the audience to post questions related to the matter being discussed. What one thing will you take away from this session? What one thing could you change? And how do you anticipate enhancing what you currently do well? There are several different avenues for further support, and remember, as members of staff, you have access to lynda.com, an online collection of thousands of video courses across a wide range of different disciplines. Thank you for watching, and when you're ready, why not choose one of the videos on a specific resource which was introduced in this video.